Now, I don't know where you were on the 30th of May 2020 at 8:22 p.m, but I was watching the NASA SpaceX rocket launch. It was live on YouTube, and you got to see this rocket take off into space with 2 astronauts inside, and it was going to go to the International Space Station. Now, this was a pretty historic rocket launch. Probably go and Google it to find out why, because if I try and explain it, I'll probably make a hot mess of it. But it was really cool, and if you've not seen the launch, I recommend that later on you go on YouTube and find the NASA SpaceX launch. But essentially, some of my friends had told me this launch was happening, and I thought, it'd be kind of cool to check out. So at 8:22 on the 30th of May, me and my flatmate sat down to watch it. And as we watched it, we saw as this rocket took off from Earth and went up into the air, up into space. And within 30 seconds, it was going at 500 kilometers an hour. And there were cameras inside the rocket, outside the rocket, on Earth looking at it. You got to see it from all kinds of different angles. And then after a couple of minutes, it was going at 15,000 kilometers an hour. It was going so fast. And within a couple of minutes, you saw it going from being on Earth to being in space with Earth floating behind it. And you got to see the boosters fall off and come back down to Earth and land perfectly on an X marks the spot type mark on this, I think it was in the sea on like a boat or something. I'm not sure. Again, please go and watch it and don't rely on me for the details. But I was absolutely amazed. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. And in this video, we are going to look at something that amazed Jesus. We are carrying on the little mini-series about Jesus meeting different people, and today we're going to look at the story of the Roman Centurion. Now, the story of the Roman Centurion can be found in 2 of the Gospels. The Gospels are 4 books written all about the life of Jesus, and we can find this story in Matthew 8, 5-10, and also Luke 7, 1-10. So there's 2 times it is told for us in the Bible. Now, if you're not sure what a Roman centurion is, or your Roman history from primary school has got a little bit rusty, well, a Roman centurion was someone who was part of the Roman army. This guy was a military man, and he was in charge of approximately 100 men in the army. So he was in authority over them, but he also had people in authority over him too, and that was his day job. So we have this Roman centurion, and he has this servant who is really ill, and his servant is going to die. And this centurion cares for his servant and wants him to get better. And so he wants Jesus to heal his servant. So what this Roman centurion does is he sends out a bunch of Jewish leaders to go to Jesus and ask Jesus if he will come and heal his servant. And Jesus agrees. So side note here, Jews and Romans weren't typically very pally with each other. The Jews were the people who lived in the land where this story takes place, and the Romans were part of the Roman Empire that was expanding all over Europe and parts of Africa and the Middle East. And so Jews and Romans didn't really get on very well. They often didn't trust each other. And when we look at lots of other stories in the New Testament, the new part of the Bible, we can often see that Romans aren't thought of massively well a lot of the time by the Jews. And Jesus himself was a Jew. But here is a Roman centurion who is on good enough terms with a bunch of Jewish leaders that they're willing to go to Jesus on his behalf. And they even say that this Roman centurion had built them a synagogue. This is no ordinary Roman citizen. Now, back to the story. As I said, Jesus came along and was going to heal the centurion's servant. But before he could get to the house, the centurion actually sent out a bunch of friends to go and meet Jesus before he got to the house. And this is the message that the friends had on behalf of the Roman centurion to tell Jesus. "Sir, don't trouble yourself. I do not deserve to have you come into my house. Neither do I consider myself worthy to come to you in person. Just give the order and my servant will get well. I, too, am a man placed under the authority of superior officers, and I have soldiers under me. I order this one go, and he goes, and I order this one come, and he comes, and I order my slave do this, and he does it." Jesus was amazed when he heard this. He turned round and said to the crowd following him, "I tell you, I have never found faith like this, not even in Israel." And so here, Jesus is amazed at the centurion's faith that Jesus is going to heal his servant. And says it's nothing like anything else that he has found. And this is the only time we ever hear of Jesus being amazed at someone's faith. And also, yes, the servant was healed as well. And I just want to pull out 3 quick things from this story, 3 amazing things about the centurion, about Jesus, and also for us. The first is about the centurion. Now, the centurion was a military man, and like I've said, he was Roman. And the Romans, their religion was actually of many, many, many gods. There were hundreds of gods. And yet this man who was a Roman had incredible faith in Jesus and had probably heard about him through his Jewish leader friends. And he knew that he was the one to heal the servant. Now, if someone was to say to you, Jesus was amazed at someone's faith in the Bible, who do you think it was? You might think, well, it'd be one of Jesus's followers, a disciple, maybe some high up religious leader, not someone from a completely different people group. But here, the centurion's faith is so strong that it even amazes Jesus. And sometimes I wonder, what would life be like if my faith was a little bit more like that? And the second thing we want to look at is Jesus. Now, we have so many stories that we can read about Jesus healing people and carrying out miracles. But this one is a little different because normally Jesus is right there with the people that he's healing. He talks to them, he interacts with them. But yet here, Jesus heals someone from a distance. He never actually meets the Roman centurion. He never actually goes into his home. But yet he heals his servant. And what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that Jesus is totally powerful, that our God can do anything, that Jesus, just through his words, just through his will, can heal. And this is amazing. And the third thing that I want to talk about is also a bit of a challenge to us. I already mentioned about the Jews and the Romans not exactly always getting on. And well, there's a verse in the Bible that says that man looks at the outward appearance, but that God looks at the heart. And you can find that in 1 Samuel 16:7. And we see an example of this in this story, because Jesus doesn't look at the Roman and judge him for being a Roman centurion, but he sees his faith and he heals his servant. But this isn't a unique situation. We're always reading stories. We're always being able to find stories of Jesus being with the poor and the tax collectors and the lepers and the prostitutes and those who normally people wouldn't be seen with or would be a little bit hesitant about being seen with. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had times where I've judged people on what things they like or how they dress, how they look, or what other people have told me. But what would it look like if, rather than judging people by who they are or what they look like, that actually we approached them openly and we really got to know them before we made a decision about them, and that we still acted for their good and on their behalf despite our judgments? So I hope that's given you a little bit of food for thought. As always, there's a PDF with questions and activities and a little prayer suggestion as well for you to get stuck into this topic a bit more. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bye.